Welcome to Doctor Who Time and Space.
Hello there.
I'm Lewis Moon.
And I'm Daddy of the Cool.
So, join us today for the amazing podcast of the world.
What do we have in store for ourselves and for the listeners in this podcast of plenty?
In today's episode, we are celebrating 51 years of Doctor Who tomorrow. So a year ago, since we were celebrating 50 years with the Carnival and Day of the Doctor.
Was Day of the Doctor really a year ago?
Well, tomorrow, yeah.
A year tomorrow? Come.
Properly a year today because it's a Saturday.
It was Saturday. It just seems hard to believe that a whole year has passed since that great Tom Baker moment.
I know.
How time flies when you're having fun. We have done probably 52 podcasts since then, I'd imagine.
No, 51 probably because I was off for one of them on my birthday, remember?
True.
True.
So, what have we got in store today then?
I've already said that we've got the 51st. What else have we got in store?
We've got other things as well. Comes. We've got news.
We've got a review of the Leisure Hive in the randomizer.
Oh, that's right. We'll be pressing that randomising button yet again to see what comes out, what pops out. As in what episode you're going to watch next week. We'll also be talking a little bit about what's going on the Mr. Lewis Moon website.
And we'll probably have a quiz or question to top off the show.
Wowza. So there's plenty in store.
Yeah.
So what should we be kicking off with the 51?
Doctor Who Time and Space. Now let's start with news like we used to.
Okay.
Like the classic time.
The classic episodes of Doctor Who Time and Space. So we'd pick up on the news first of all.
First of all, let's start with a bit of news about Jenna Coleman.
So, when you say that, so we've probably towards the end of the last series, there started to be these rumours surfacing that Jenna was not going to be in the next series.
Yeah, and Moffat says that he can't confirm Jenna Coleman for Series 9. Now, we know she's in the Christmas special, but Jenna Coleman's future beyond the upcoming Christmas special is still uncertain, and unfortunately, it's not getting any clearer.
So, basically then, we've had confirmation that Peter Capaldi is definitely going to be in the next series, haven't we?
Yeah.
So we know that for a fact. We didn't really know, did we, whether or not whether Jenna Coleman was actually going to be in the Christmas edition. But it seems at the moment that she is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think she'll be in Series 9?
I don't think she will, no. I think it'd be... I actually think it would be... It's probably right time to have a change of companion now.
Yeah.
I think however much I like Clara.
Yeah.
I think we know everything we need to know about her.
Yeah.
What's your views?
Yeah, I think we know everything about her character.
Yeah.
We know everything about her. So, what else have we got to say, really?
Yeah.
I mean, Jenna is great as Clara, but also there's another reason. It could be a bit of trademark Moffat trickery.
It could be. It could be indeed. Okay. Have we got any other bits of news?
Yeah, I have, but I'm just trying to load it.
Okay. You've got a slow loading machine today, haven't you?
I know.
Slow
Horrible.
loading machine.
Come on.
Well, whilst we're dwelling on it, we might as well have a little bit of gossip whilst we mid news. Where would you place Clara in your list of favourite companions? Would you be there near the top?
Near the top, definitely.
As you know, I still slightly prefer Amy.
I probably prefer Clara than Amy.
Yeah. What about the classic Who companions? Is it Sarah Jane for you?
Sarah Jane. For you? I know it's your lovely Lena.
Oh, it is my lovely Lena.
Your lovely
I
girlfriend.
love my Lena, I do.
Yeah.
What other news do we have then, Newsmeister?
Sorry, I'm just trying to load it. By the way, this week is the amazing Series 8 DVD release.
Ooh. Was that this week? Is it out
This
already?
week. Not yet. On Monday.
Ooh. Do we know much about it? What do
Well-
we get? Is it, presumably we get the whole of the series. Does it include Time of the Doctor?
No, that was with the Christmas specials and Matt Smith.
Okay.
DVD?
So that is available on the DVD, though, is
Yeah,
it?
it's
Time of the
going
Doctor?
really slow. I can't load it.
Okay, well, let's revert to plan 2, which is to revert to my version of the news on here, when I actually make up all the news that's happened during the week. No, so just talking a little bit about that DVD though. So what do we actually get for it?
We get 2 Peter Davidson specials.
Right,
We get
Peter Davidson specials.
not like I mean like documentary things.
Ah, right, okay, I see.
By the way, 2 new polls for Doctor TV, which are face-offs, have now been opened. There's one for Masters the Classic era
Ooh,
and one for New Who Masters.
okay.
First of all, let's go for Best Classic Master. Is it Roger Delgado, the first ever Master? Or is it Peter Pratt, the Decayed Master? Or the same incarnation but played by Geoffrey Beevers? Anthony Ainley then followed as the 5th, 6th and 7th Doctor's Master. And then the TV movies, Eric Roberts. Who's your favourite?
With me, it would have to be Delgado.
Me too.
Yeah,
I like Delgado most out of all of them.
yeah, and then probably Ainsley actually, because they're quite similar, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's funny because you look at the old masters and they were more like your sort of classic villain.
Yeah.
And there's a certain element of pantomime villain about them, I think, in many respects. Whereas now, whether you're talking about John Sims' Master or you're talking about Missy, they're just completely deranged.
Yeah. Ainley and Delgado look exactly the same.
Yeah, that's right. And what was the other quiz that you had? The other face-off? Modern day ones?
Well, let's look at the comments first. Can you read
All the
out
comments are working today.
few comments?
The first one says, like Davidson was my doctor, Ainsley was my master. For me, a favourite classic master list would go something like this: Ainsley, Beevers, Roberts, Delgado, Pratt. Which one's Beevers? Which was he?
Geoffrey Beevers.
Yeah.
I mean Geoffrey Beevers. He was the 2nd Decayed Master.
Oh, right, okay. See, I didn't realise that the Decayed Master was in more than one episode.
He was played by 2 different people.
What, in the same episode?
No.
Oh, right.
Deadly Assassin, People Talk On.
Oh, right, okay. I thought it was a one-off thing that he was all decayed. I didn't realise it was over a period.
2 episodes.
This person says Delgado, always reliable. Ainsley at his best was brilliant, but at his worst he was awful. The Decayed Masters were both good, but why did Beevers look less decayed than Pratt? Not that that's either their faults. Less said about Roberts, the better. So Roberts was the movie one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. He just didn't feel masterly, did he?
No, he didn't.
I'm torn between Roger Delgado and Anthony Ainley on here, but I'll go with Delgado. Delgado is the best master, and of course he was in my episode, so top marks to you, old chap.
He died, sadly, Delgado, in a car crash in 1973, one of the reasons why John Pelty left Doctor Who.
Yeah, so I didn't know that till you told me that the other day. I knew he died, but I hadn't realised that was why John Pelty left.
It isn't why, it's one of the reasons.
Ah, right, okay.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it seems to be a toss up really between excuse me, between Ainley and Delgado.
Who do you think will win that poll?
I think possibly Ainley, just because he's slightly more recent, and I think with anything involving the internet, I think each year you get more and more users.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's vote for the new Who one.
The new Who one.
We've got quite a lot of face-offs this week.
Okay. Well, that's good because we've got no opinion, you see. So there's a danger that nobody would have anything to listen to otherwise, is there?
Yeah.
So what have we got then? So the new Who Master face-off. What does that present us with?
I think we did this last week, actually.
I think we might have done as well, but let's do it again anyway.
Yeah, let's do it again.
And anyone that's listened to both episodes can see whether we say the same thing.
Okay, what would you say?
Okay.
Derek Jacobi, John Sim, or Michelle Gomez?
I will go for Gomez.
Yeah.
Yes, Gomez for me.
Okay, so do you want to read out the comments? Or?
Yeah, I'll read a handful of comments out, shall I?
Okay. If you like to read out the comments.
Okay. Having just watched The End of Time, I've fallen back in love with Sims Master. Definitely my favourite. However much Gomez's Miss E could make me laugh. But I was so impressed with Sims' work as a master. Pure gold. Next person said Gomez. She was generally terrifying and unpredictable. Curtain goes down. Everybody cheers for best master in a long time. And possibly at all. Don't know what they're on about. I would love to have seen Jacobi play the master longer term. No, he would have been the same as Delgado or Ainley, but I think he would have brought a more quite sinister, truly evil quality to the role. I like Gomez better than Sims though. Sims Master I think was just nasty and crazy, no real subtlety or charm. So yeah, a lot of people really like Sim. I think Sim will probably slightly come out on top on that one.
Yeah, I do.
I'm gonna quick look through the poll, but I think that's also partly because there's still a certain percentage of people that don't like the idea of the female master. So
yeah,
therefore, I think it always stands a chance of being the slightly lesser of the two. Do we have any other news that you were going to share with our adoring public?
We've got another face-off.
Ooh.
This time, the comments aren't working.
Okay.
So I want to know what final you liked the best. Was it the Bad Wolf Parting of the Ways? Was it Army of Ghosts Doomsday? I think it's just the last part actually. Parting of the Ways, Doomsday, Last of the Time Lords, Journey's End, Pandora Opens, Wedding of River Song, Name the Doctor, or Death in Heaven.
Easy. Long pause. Easy.
To be continued. Previously. So what is it?
Name
Series
the
1. Oh, you spoiled the pause.
Sorry, I was gonna...
Yeah, I'm going to say Series 7. If it's the story of Dark Water, Death in Heaven,
yeah,
then I'd say Series 8. But if it's the individual finale,
yeah,
I'd say Name of the Doctor.
Yeah, no, I think Name of the Doctor. I think Name of the Doctor just had that fantastic opening sequence with Clara meeting all the doctors, and it had a fantastic ending sequence with the introduction to John Hurt. So, yeah, easy that one. So no comments. The comments aren't working.
Nah, I'm just looking. So, if you want to see the Doctor Who TV ones poll.
They've had the responses to come back through, have they?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I'm just going to read out their scores for the Dark Water, Death in Heaven as an episode ranking.
Okay.
The episode score is 8.60. Final rating 8.10. Monster score 8.45. Arc resolution 7.80. Character development 8.90.
Okay.
And the leaderboard looks like this. Series 1 at top, then Series 3, then Series 5, then Series 8, then Series 4, then Series 6, then Series 2, and surprisingly, Series 7 at the bottom.
Doesn't surprise me because a lot of people didn't like the second part of Series 7. And I think if you were to take Name of the Doctor out of it, it's probably not as strong as some of the other series.
No.
It's like what we said the other day when we were looking at Series 8, and we said, well, what from Series 7 would actually have made it into Series 8? And there wasn't much, was there?
No.
So people still like the first series best, do they? Was it Series 1 that came top?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Let's look. Capaldi doesn't plan to regenerate for a while. Peter Capaldi has said that although he finds the role of the Doctor incredibly demanding, he doesn't plan to regenerate for a while. At the end of the day, the job is all-consuming. It's a factory, a Doctor Who factory. I get to run up and down corridors, escape through ventilation shafts, and fight Daleks.
What more could you ask for?
But it is every day for 8 months, and you can get tired. You don't keep trying to come up with ideas, and sometimes you run out of ideas. It says, well, Tom Baker's record is still waiting to be broken.
So how many years was Tom Baker the Doctor for?
7.
7 years. Crumbs. It's quite some time, really, isn't it? What's the nearest after that? So this should be in quiz or question, really, shouldn't it?
I'm trying to think. I think it might be David Tennant.
You think so? I guess because although he didn't have any more series than Matt Smith, did he? The same number of series, but he had the specials thrown in as well, I guess.
Or William Hartnell. I don't know.
Maybe we'll try and find out and confirm an answer by the end of the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
whoever, whatever, whyever, it's pretty clear that Tom Baker's the longest.
Yes.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? When Capaldi mentioned there that it's 8 months of pretty hard work, it puts it into perspective, really, because there's us thinking, the series is over now. Oh, hurry up and make a new series. You realise that it actually takes quite a blooming long time to do.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? It takes a long, long time. 8 months out of 12. They're working on it. So.
And the Christmas one.
And the Christmas one. We still don't know anything more new about the Christmas one, do we?
Not really.
Don't think we do we?
We had the clip last week, but
actually no, we did. We did have a new bit of news. I don't know whether you're going to come on to it in a minute or not.
What was it?
Moffat talking about Santa.
Yeah, I'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Peter Capaldi has said that he didn't want his Doctor to be likeable in his first series, and he even went as far to trying to remove scenes that may draw the viewer's affection. He says, I would certainly find some material that I found a little weepy, and seeking the audience's affection, that I'd try and remove them. I don't want them to like me.
That's interesting. I wonder if he says in the first series, I wonder if he means by that he's going to soften as the series goes on. Or whether he'll always be a little bit narky, a little unpleasant in some respects.
Yeah. And it says, there is an article which is quite long, but it says, with a Doctor this dark, who needs enemies?
That is true. Yeah.
Computer.
Oh, your computer's done something weird. Okay, we don't need it anyway, do we?
No.
No, because it failed on us, didn't it? It let us down.
So,
it let us down.
Series 8, Moffat on his Series 8 worries. Stephen Moffat has admitted that he did worry about changing things up in Doctor Who. Each time we make a big shift, which we did this year, then you're probably properly worried. It's like being the curator of the Crown Jewels or something, he explained at the Series 8 DVD launch. He said, I remember once reading a review of a Doctor Who episode which listed a whole lot of really funny lines. This is the kind of thing I hadn't had since Moffat took over. I wrote every single one.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Because I mean, it is a very dark series. Like we were talking about a little bit earlier on, weren't we, on the way round here? And we were saying probably it's a series that people either loved or didn't like at all.
Yeah.
And I think that was because it was quite dark and edgy. And I guess certainly since New Who came back, it's not been dark and edgy, is it? There's been the odd dark episode, but it's never had that sort of horror feel to it.
I know. Like, listen.
Yeah, indeed.
Christmas special. Santa is real, not evil.
Ah.
To allay any parental concerns, Stephen Moffat has said that the Santa Claus presented in the upcoming Christmas special will be real and definitely not evil. Santa could never be evil, for heaven's sake. Santa is both real and a Christmas hero. He said, you could figure it out, you know, Nicholas Frost, you see.
So it is deliberate, eh? Yeah. We wondered though, didn't we, when we were watching the Children of Need special, because there was a certain edge to Nick Frost's character, and we wondered whether he was a villain, didn't we?
Yeah.
But you never know with the Moth, do you?
No.
It may be that you turn it on and Nick Frost isn't even in it.
Yeah.
That's the unpredictability of it all.
Is in a parallel universe, Peter Capaldi is the Eighth Doctor. The man himself has revealed that he had the opportunity to audition for the role, but turned it down.
Oh.
Speaking at the Series 8 DVD launch event, I never begged to be in Doctor Who. I even turned down the opportunity to audition for the role of Doctor Who in the one that Paul McGann did.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Well, it's lucky that he didn't give up the role, because he didn't do it, because then he'd only be in one episode.
Yeah.
And we'd get like...
Yeah, that is true. We were talking again earlier on the week, weren't we, about how great it would be if they brought back Paul McGann anyway, just even if it was as a sort of a spin-off series.
Yeah.
It'd be good to get him back. Yeah. Any more news?
Wait a minute. Trying to look.
What have we got in your pockets, Sis?
BBC declares Series 8 a triumph.
Okay.
Series 8 saw Peter Capaldi up the iconic role of the Doctor, with an average consolidated audience of 7.4 million viewers every week in the UK. This is an increase of 39% on the overnight figures reported the day after broadcast. This includes the 9.2 million average audience that watched Deep Breath, Peter Capaldi's debut episode, which is the highest figure for a non-special episode Christmas 50th anniversary since the opening episode of Series 5. These figures show how Doctor Who has considerably achieved big audiences across the last three series. Series 7A, Series 7B combined had an average consolidated audience of 7.4 million.
So it's the same, isn't it?
Yeah. Series 6B attracted 7.5 million, and Series 5 was viewed by 7.3 million.
Series 5. Which one's Series 5? That's the last one.
The first one was that.
The first one. So that had slightly less, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. That's interesting, isn't it? The
There are only 12 episodes this series.
What I did think was quite interesting was that whilst the figures in this country are about the same, 7.4 million, in America they've actually increased by about 30%.
Yeah.
So it's getting more and more popular with our friends over the water.
Finally, after inheriting Matt Smith's TARDIS for a series, Peter Capaldi thinks it's time for a new look. I have to say the BBC are very responsible with licence payers' money. So they feel if they've spent a certain amount of money on a certain amount of props, then they won't get rid of those props until they've used. That applies equally to the TARDIS. It's essentially maths.
So I looked at it and sort of thought of it as being a completely new TARDIS, but I guess it's been decorated, I guess.
It's a bit different, it looks.
Yeah.
But
the core remains the same, I guess. So
yeah.
is that all for the news?
Yeah, it is.
That's all of the news, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. What does that take us on to then in terms of the next slot on the show?
So should we look at the randomizer next?
Yeah. Okay. What are we doing? Are we gonna do the new randomizer, or are we going to talk a little bit about last week's?
What should we do first?
Let's talk about the Leisure Hive first. Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll start talking about the 51st anniversary.
Yeah. Okay. So so this week, I don't suppose we'll talk about it for a great amount of time, will we?
No.
But basically, for those that have listened to previous last couple of weeks, we've introduced a new segment to the show called the Randomizer.
Yes.
Where last week we pressed the magic button on our Excel spreadsheet, which contains every episode of Who Ever.
It's very geeky.
Yeah, and the first week we had Sontaran Experiment. Last week we pressed the Randomizer and the Leisure Hive came out.
Wonder what we'll get this week.
Oh, we'll find out soon, assuming we can get it loaded, which I was desperately trying to do in the background whilst we were talking because we forgot to load it up before we started. Okay, so the Leisure Hive.
Okay.
Which Doctor?
Fourth Doctor with Romana.
So to give you a little bit of idea of the plot, we try not to spoil anything, so we just give a little bit of background on it. The Doctor and Romana's holiday in Edwardian Brighton is brought to a sudden end when K9 goes after a ball and takes in seawater and explodes.
That synopsis might spoil something.
You think so?
I don't know. Will it?
Well, I mean, first of all, what did you think of that intro when K9 exploded?
Yeah, it was cool.
It made me
was a
chuckle
good
that
way to. It wasn't our next time if anyone's watched that.
Yeah. I think I'm okay to read this.
Yeah.
If I start going into territory that you don't want me to, just start prodding me.
Yeah, if you don't want to hear this, just in case there's any spoilers, there probably won't be. But if you want to, just turn off and come back in a few minutes.
Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes.
I'll
be back in a few minutes then. I'll see you in a few minutes.
See ya.
Okay, so instead, after K9 exploded, they ventured to the Leisure Hive of Argolis, which is a holiday complex and peace message built by the surviving Argolin following their devastating 20-minute war with the Famazi 40 years earlier. They arrive at a point of crisis. The Leisure Hive is facing bankruptcy because of falling tourist trade to stiff competition from other leisure planets. And the Argolin's Earth agent, Brock, arrives with his lawyer, Clout, bearing an offer to buy the planet outright. So, and regrettably, the offer is from the Famosi, the only species that could live on the radiation-infused surface of Argolis. And so, the Argolin board will not consider it. So, that gives a bit of background to it.
Yes.
What did you make of it? I mean, you'd seen it before anyway, hadn't you?
Yeah.
I probably had seen it before when it first came out all these years ago, but
it was better than I remembered because I remembered it being not that good.
Did you?
I remember it being not that good.
I guess the thing is, probably when you watched it, goes back a few years ago now, doesn't it? And it's quite a slow episode, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite a slow episode. And therefore you might have found it a bit boring.
Yeah.
And also, there are monsters in it, aren't there?
Yeah.
But they're not in it that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Very slow. Very, like most classic episodes, they are very, very slow.
So, what do you make then of the main characters in this one? So, first of all, Tom Baker's Doctor.
Yeah, he's very good as
Yeah.
a doctor.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah. No, so do I. So I've got to do this second because we need to do that. Enable this content. Right. Yeah. I like his. I love his smile.
Yeah, I do.
That's
Yeah,
one of my favourite bits about him.
I know. I love his doctor, and I love how he always smiles and always has this nice sort of charm about him.
Yeah.
But he's got a few similarities with the Peter Capaldi doctor.
I think he has as well. Yeah.
So what do you think of Romana 2? Because you can't really remember her.
I don't really remember her from before. I like Romana actually. I think she's got a nice way about her, hasn't she? And of course, as we know, she was actually married to Tom Baker for a while.
Yeah. So what did you think of the Argolis?
So the Argolis. So that was the main people in it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I sort of remembered them actually, funny enough, from when I was growing up with their weird Marge Simpson-like hair. They're sort of green. They're like a sort of planet of green Marge Simpsons.
Yeah. And what did you think of the bad guys?
Which is Famosi, was it? So
Yeah.
the Famosi. They were. I mean, they sort of typically, as effects have moved on so much, they look a little bit naff, don't they? When you see them
I
now.
like them.
But yeah, they're the sort of thing that you can imagine these days in the high street with sale, everything must go banners around their neck. And
yeah, you imagine them like scaring people in the old days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that creature from the Sontaran experiment, some tacky thing.
Yeah.
Talking of, when we were talking, this episode's quite tacky. They started mentioning tachyonics.
Ah.
Tachyonics.
Yes, tacky. The other thing that I noticed is from the episode, they seem to have a randomizer as well.
Yes, the TARDIS has a randomizer,
Yes.
and they said it's hard to build a randomizer. It was.
It took a while, didn't it?
Yeah.
But we got there eventually. So, what do you think in terms of? Let's go through a few categories, and we were gonna work out a few categories that we were gonna rate, weren't we?
Okay. I've got some.
On the A to G.
Well, should we do ratings out of 10? What do you want to do?
I think I like A's.
Yeah.
I think we should
A
do.
to G's.
Okay.
A to F's.
A to F's, yeah. F being fail.
There is episode rating.
Okay, I would give it probably a B. I reckon.
I'm gonna say a B.
Yeah.
Character development.
Character development, not too much on the character
I'd
development.
say C.
Yeah, probably a C. Yeah.
Monster.
Monster. Probably a C again. Not one of the strongest monsters, I don't think.
Other characters. Guest stars.
Nobody really jumped out in that one, so probably a C.
C, yeah. Either. And excitement.
Excitement. I'm going to give it a B minus.
Yeah.
It had some exciting moments in it, didn't it? It had some great moments in it, actually.
Yeah. B minus.
I think the
cliffhanger.
The cliffhangers from episode A and episode 1 and episode 2 in particular.
Yeah.
Good, aren't they? So yeah, we really.
I like all the cliffhangers, but yeah.
I like 1 and 2 best.
Yeah, I do.
So would you recommend it to people then to watch?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think is better, that or the Sontaran experiment?
I prefer the Sontaran.
Yeah, I do.
I think it's the better of the episodes.
They're better than I remember them, all these episodes.
I think it's just because you get that bit older, so you probably understand them more.
And probably because I'm watching them with another geek.
Indeed. Well, there's something else in here. I thought you were just watching with me. You're being all cool. I should be called Daddy Geek, really, shouldn't I? Daddy Geek. No.
So,
I think what we should do actually, as we watch all these however many hundreds of episodes, we should put them in an order of where they fit in the overall scheme of who.
Yeah.
So at the moment, we've only got 2 in this category. So the Sontaran experiment is currently number 1.
Yeah.
With Ledger Hive in bottom place.
Yeah, because there's only 2 places.
There's only 2. Is there anything else? Anything else to add about the Leisure Hive, or should we go to the randomizer?
Maybe that might change about worst episode or best episode.
It could do, yeah.
So
to the randomizer.
If it's one I'm scared of or one we don't have,
yeah,
we'll be clicking it again.
Okay.
Are you ready?
We're ready. Okay.
Ready?
Yep. You gonna press the button? What's gonna happen? Okay.
Ooh.
Interesting.
So it's our first New Who episode. We have got Let's Kill Hitler for next week's episode.
Excellent. Quite excited.
Quite a new one.
I've only seen that one once, so quite excited about that. Yeah, good.
I've got that on DVD or Netflix.
Yeah, we can watch it on Netflix. Will be easier, won't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so our first non Tom Baker one, isn't it? So, yeah,
do you think that will come? Where do you think that will come?
Oh well, I'm not even gonna think about it until we watched it again. I think, I don't know
where it will come.
I think it will come above the Leisure Hive.
Yeah, I think it will come above the Leisure Hive, but below some time.
Yeah, maybe so. But we shall see.
Or it might come top.
Yeah, you never know.
Depends what a rewatch does.
Does depend what a rewatch does. So yeah, because a rewatch does what a rewatch does. So that takes us on for that one. Where are we next in the
51 years of Doctor Who? But first of all, "51 years."
Anyone listening there thought they'd lost their internet connection.
How many years of Doctor Who have you watched?
How many years have I watched? Well, that's hard to know because I don't know what age I started watching it at. But I was born in 1971.
Okay, so that means you started at Sue's 8. You started when you were a little baby.
The first Doctor I remember is Tom Baker.
Did you watch any John Pertwee when you were little?
I did, but only in repeats.
Yeah.
Because they occasionally show repeats on the telly.
Like the Diamonds repeat.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that one. What about you?
I started watching Doctor Who in 2010.
Okay.
But the series came on. I missed series 5 when it was live.
Ah, right. Okay.
So yeah, it's over 4 years now
because
I became a Whovian.
You first got into it through the Sarah Jane Adventures, didn't you?
Yeah, thank you, Sarah Jane Adventures. Yeah. Today we're going to have a little history lesson. If you're a kid and you're like, "Oh, hate history," then it's actually history's going to get fun.
Is it?
Because of Doctor Who.
Okay. Well, you better be the lecturer then, because I have no idea what you've got planned for this segment.
No, neither have I.
in that case, it could be interesting. Yes. So, Mr. History Teacher, or Mr. Moon, as we will call you, Mr. Moon, Head of History, please lead us through this lesson.
So, Doctor Who, tomorrow celebrates its 51st anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the first ever episode of Doctor Who was An Unearthly Child.
Okay.
Which featured the cavemen. And the basic story was, of part 1, Barbara and Ian, teachers of Susan, went to investigate her house because they noticed their student was acting a bit weird.
Mm-hmm.
And they discovered a junkyard called Trotter's Lane. And they discovered a police box with an old man outside. But when they walked in, they discovered a whole new adventure, the TARDIS. And that's how it all began.
Yeah. Oh no, you've ruined it for me.
Do you think it was a good beginning?
I do, yeah. And I think it was. It's like with anything, it's difficult when you look back on it, but I think it probably was very different for its time. Certainly we watched separately the episode. What was it called? The one that they released last year.
The Adventures in Space and Time.
Yeah.
The documentary.
Yeah. And that provided like a really good insight into it, didn't it? Really.
Yeah,
and,
I like that.
Yeah, it was good.
We'll go on to the 50th anniversary celebrations in a minute. But next up, the next adventure featured the most iconic villains in Doctor Who, the Daleks, which these creatures are really famous.
They are.
Terry Nation. Oh, Terry Nation.
So he actually invented the Daleks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, brilliant.
So, what do you think of the Daleks?
Um,
There's a picture of a Dalek with the Cyberman.
there is indeed. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I really liked them. I think they were.
If you don't know what they look like, you can see them.
Yeah. So what did you make of this? The first episode with the Daleks? Then have you seen it since?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Cool.
Very, very good.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Of course, they've got their very famous catchphrase, which is "exterminate." What was that again?
Pardon? What the hell did you just say? Oh, good. Was that? Oh, good. It was.
Yes. Thankfully, that is what they sounded something like that, and not like this.
Or-
Rubbish.
Like a hydrocorian. Okay, so what did you think of the first Doctor then? Well, let's look at the Cyberman first, because
Okay.
the 10th Planet was their first episode.
And then,
What did you think of the Cyberman?
I still think the Cybermen were at their scariest in these early episodes.
Yeah, I do.
There was something about the fact that it's funny, isn't it? You look at most villains in Doctor Who, and they've generally got more scariest times going on because the effects have got so much better. But actually, the better effects have reduced the scariness of the Cybermen,
Yeah.
which is quite ironic, really. There's something about the old cloth-faced look that was quite sinister, and
Death
equally.
in Heaven brought the scariness back, but still, it wasn't as scary as the first episodes.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think both the first two incarnations of the Cybermen in particular were at their most scary.
The first and second Doctors.
Yeah.
Cybermen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
The two of the Cybermen ones I like.
Yeah.
What did you think of the first Doctor?
I thought it was great. I say that I haven't really seen that many of them. I've seen obviously the first episode.
He forgot his lines, sadly.
He did, yeah. I mean, I think by the end of his run, he was not a well man, really.
No.
Was he? I think it's funny, isn't it? Because I think if you were to start a new series of Doctor Who and you were to put William Hartnell in it now, I don't think it would be very popular.
No.
Mainly, I think because even though Peter Capaldi's an older, he's older than William Hartnell, isn't he? But even though he's an older Doctor, he's still got a lot of energy in him, whereas you didn't get that in William Hartnell. But it just shows a change of the times, really. I don't. If you'd imagine following Matt Smith with William Hartnell, I don't think it'd been very popular.
No.
People would have really moaned.
Well, he wouldn't have been alive anyway.
Well, that doesn't help. It doesn't. Well, actually, as we know, he probably is now. He's just a Cyberman. Anything else on William Hartnell?
No. Let's go on to Patwick Twalton.
Okay.
Twalton.
Now, Patrick Troughton is one of my favourite Doctors, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he's a bit more cowardly than most.
Yeah, he is.
And he gets a bit more het up, doesn't he, at times? But
Yeah.
I really like his portrayal of him. Reminds me, in the same way as we said, there's a bit of a comparison between Tom Baker and Peter Capaldi. I think there's a bit of a comparison between Matt Smith and Patrick Troughton.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
They both wear bow ties.
They do. Yes. They both got black hair.
They both got black hair.
Yeah. What about
Both got jackets.
what do you think what villain symbolises Patrick Troughton?
What is Vane?
Yeah.
And Cyberman.
Yeah.
Because The Cybermen appeared 4 times in his era.
What about the Daleks? How many times did they?
In his era,
Yeah.
2 times, because the Daleks were rumoured to leave in Patrick Troughton's story, The Evil of the Daleks, and they didn't come back because Terry Nation was meant to make a spin-off series of the Daleks, but it never got produced. It never got made because it would be too expensive to do.
So I never knew that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's an
it's true.
interesting fact.
Yeah.
What about John Pertwee?
John Pertwee. I thought he was a very good doctor.
He's one of your favourites, isn't he?
One of my favourites.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
Not my favourite, but one of my favourites.
And what villain do you associate with him?
The Master, definitely.
Best John Pertwee episode.
There are a few which I thought, wow. There are quite a few.
Yeah.
I'll name. There are quite a lot. I might name.
Quite a lot. Okay.
Quite a lot.
Okay,
but these are some of them.
Just name a handful.
Spearhead from Space.
Okay.
Inferno. The Diamonds. Green Death. And Planet of the Spiders, I'd name.
Okay, because you've seen most of them, haven't you? Most of the John Pertwee ones, I think.
There are a few I haven't watched.
Yeah.
But
I always enjoy a good bit. And he bought the. It's funny because he sort of looks older again, doesn't he? But he bought the action hero sort of side, didn't he? Really, with his kung fu kicks.
Yeah. So.
A chop here and a chop there.
Chingaha there and a chinkanda that.
Yes. Which moved us on to
Tom Baker, your
the Legend, my favourite.
Doctor.
Of course, we talked a bit about the Leisure Hive earlier on. Which villain do you associate with Tom Baker?
I don't know, because he doesn't really have a main. I'd say the Sontarans. There are a few villains.
I would say
Sontarans, Davros.
I'd go with Davros.
Yeah, I'd go with Davros.
I think Davros symbolises the Tom Baker era. How many times did the Fourth Doctor meet Davros?
Twice.
Oh, it was only twice, was it?
Twice.
Okay. Anyone he met more than twice?
No.
What the Master?
No, 2.
Yeah, he met him twice, did he? What about the Black Guardian?
1.
Okay. Okay, so Tom Baker, legend. A lot of people's favourite Doctor, but I guess probably that's partly because he was great, and partly because he was in it for so many years. So there was 7 years worth of people for it to be their favourite Doctor.
It was old. It was more than any other Doctor has ever had.
So favourite Tom Baker episodes?
I'd say there are a few. Talons of Weng-Chiang, Invasion of Time, Sontaran Experiment, Genesis of the Daleks, and more. There are loads.
I think the two that you mentioned there, Talons and Genesis of the Daleks, still stand up as being 2 of the best episodes even now, I think.
Yeah. So, should we move on?
Yeah, let's move on. Yeah.
Peter Davidson.
Okay.
I like him. He's quite good.
I like him more now, looking back on his episodes. At the time when I was growing up, I think I grew out of Doctor Who for a few years, and it was really during the Peter Davidson years where that happened. Where I wanted to watch other things. I think it was because things like Star Wars were more appealing to me.
Yeah.
Because they had the big budgets and everything like that, and looked better for the time.
I'd say who do you think symbolises what monster? I think the Master might be again.
Yeah.
Or the Mara.
Yeah. I can't really remember the Mara very well.
It's the snake one.
We'll go for the Master, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And favourite episodes?
Earthshock?
Yeah, Earthshock, Caves of Androzani, and Snake Dance, I'd say. Those are my 3 favourites.
And on to the next one, which was
Colin
Baker.
Baker.
A lot of people's least favourite Doctor,
Yeah.
sadly, which is a shame because I actually think he was really good.
Yeah.
I think he was probably let down with the 80s. Just the 80s effects, really, I think. And some of the stories aren't as strong, perhaps.
No.
A little bit more cheesy.
Yeah.
But a lot of people didn't like his darker edge. But let's face it, that's exactly what Peter Capaldi's brought back,
Yeah.
really.
Okay, so what monster do you think symbolises his era?
Was he really in it long enough to have a monster that symbolised his
I
era?
don't think so.
Was there anyone he came up with more than once?
You came up with the master more than one
Did he?
again.
Who was it who was responsible for his regeneration?
The Rani, but she only met him like once properly.
I'm gonna say the Rani though because she did meet him in 2 episodes and was effectively responsible for his doom. So Rani. Yeah.
Top 3 episodes because
Okay.
I'm doing 3 for every Doctor.
Yeah.
I'd say are the the Trial of the Time Lord Ultimate Foe, Mark the Rani, and the 2 Doctors.
Okay, that sounds pretty strong. On to the next Doctor.
Sylvester McCoy.
Sylvester McCoy sort of basically drew an era to an end because he was the last Doctor for a short while.
Yeah.
Before they brought the series back.
Yeah.
I think it seemed like after the darkness of the the Colin Baker Doctor, they brought Sylvester McCoy in as a very childish, silly Doctor. And I think the first series, at least, is quite hard to watch. Do you agree?
What do you mean? Like,
It's a bit cheesy.
yeah.
Yeah.
He gets more dark as it goes along, I think.
Yes, I think so. And I like Sylvester McCoy a lot.
Yeah.
I really like him.
But he's not one of my favourite Doctors.
No.
No. Near the bottom.
Yeah.
Maybe the bottom. But
What do you think in terms of episodes?
favourite episodes are Remembrance of the Daleks, Curse of Fenric, and Survival.
Okay. And in terms of a villain?
Villain that symbolises the era. I wouldn't say there is one, really.
No. Would it be the Master again? He came up against the Master in the last episode, didn't he?
Yeah, but he didn't. He kind of did cause the regeneration in the TV movie. No, that was Gangsters.
What would you say then in terms of favourite episodes?
I said that. I said Curse of Fenric.
Oh, you did, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah.
Remembrance of the Daleks and Survival.
Okay. Favourite episodes?
Remembrance of the Daleks, Curse of Fenric, and Survival.
So, which Doctor came next?
Paul McGann.
Paul McGann.
Which,
okay.
I think we're just going to do classic Doctors today.
Okay.
Should we?
Yeah, that's probably the right way to do it. Yeah, because otherwise.
Because then next week we can have something to talk about.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'd just be hanging really here.
We'll just be like, oh yeah, oh.
And yeah, that's exactly what we'd be doing.
Oh.
So, what do you make of Paul McGann then?
I thought he was a good Doctor.
Yeah. What do you make of the TV movie?
I mean, the TV movie, not one of my favourites, but still, it's better than people say it is, I think. It was alright.
What I think was interesting, I think it was brilliant when they brought him back.
The Night of the Doctor, for the 50th.
Yeah. That was a classic episode, wasn't it? Even though it was only short. And it made you want to see more of him, I think.
Yeah, a spin-off.
Yeah.
Maybe.
What about his villain?
The Master.
Have to be really, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And favourite episode. Favourite 3 episodes are Night of the Doctor at first, Doctor Who the TV movie, and then an audio episode which I haven't even watched.
Yeah. I really hope that at some point, somehow, we get to see more of the Paul McGann Doctor.
Yeah. Oh wait, Actually, let's change the second place to Paradise then. Or, no, Awakening of the Sea Devils.
Okay.
Followed by Paradise then.
Okay.
Or the Cyber War.
So, that actually brings us on quite nicely to a link to the Mr. Lewis Moon webpage.
Yes!
On the basis that those are episodes of yours.
So, a bit of news. It has been revealed that the return of the Sontarans, the first time they've appeared, will happen in the new series of the Mr. Lewis Moon Adventures.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. What will make it particularly interesting is the fact that your Sontaran figure's only got 1 foot. We'll have to try and make this stand up somehow. But I'm sure that'll be fine.
Also, Lisa Scando has told us about Poir, and she's saying that she thinks Poir's had enough in the Mr. Lewis Moon Adventures. She thinks no more stories can be done.
No more Poir?
No more ideas.
Oh, no.
But she says she hopes for a return, but maybe as a different character. But we all love Poir, so we can just rewatch Proud the Cyberman and that scene when she just appears. That makes Proud the Cyberman for me.
It does. Who knows? Maybe she's doing a Moppet on us and she'll return. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
Any other news on the Mr. Lewis Moon?
John Barrowman has revealed Captain Jack to return, as well as Arthur Darby revealing Rory will return in Day the Dark Magic Strikes, our Christmas special.
Our Christmas special, and it's not too far off now, is it?
Yeah.
So actually, Day the Dark Magic Strikes is due out on what date?
Part 1 on 24th of December, part 2 on 27th, but you'll probably not want to watch it on Christmas Eve.
Well, you never know. People might want to. Once they're tucking into a mince pie, maybe.
Yeah, I've already had my first mince pie.
So have I actually.
Yeah.
In fact, did I just have one? No, I had 2 mince pies. Really big ones. They were puff pastry.
Ooh.
They're very nice. Yeah.
Ooh, I had one last night.
In fact, perhaps next week, because there's no Doctor Who series on at the moment, we should stop doing this podcast and do a mince pie podcast.
Oh, mince pie time in space.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
My mince pies were so nice that if I had a TARDIS, I would have gone back in time and eaten them again.
Mince pie, mince in space. Mince and pie. So, should we do a bit of quiz or question?
A bit of quiz or question, okay. The quiz or question. The quiz or question.
So, what do you want to do?
Quiz or question.
You know, quiz or question is
The quiz or question. So, quiz or question. Quiz or question. Explain the rules.
So, a quiz is a question which has a right an answer.
Okay.
And a question has no right or wrong answer.
Okay. So I'm not sure I got it. So sorry, a quiz means there's a right answer.
Yeah.
A question means it's an opinion.
Yeah.
Or an opinion.
So what's our first question?
Our first one was looking at the various villains that were faced by Sarah Jane in the Sarah Jane Adventures. Are there any that the panel would like to see included within a future Doctor Who episode?
I think the Trickster is my top of the list. I'd really like the Trickster to appear in the Doctor Who at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know how and why, but I think he should.
Yeah, I think I'd go for the Trickster first of all. Yeah. I mean, there were some really good villains in Sarah Jane.
Yeah, there's the Androvax, Bodney.
Yeah.
There were quite a lot of villains. The Slitheen. No, they weren't new.
I think definitely.
Mrs. Wormwood, the Bane.
Do you think we'll ever see the Slitheen again in Doctor Who?
No, I think that was a Christopher Eccleston villain.
You think so?
Yeah.
I guess there's only so much you can do with them, isn't there?
Yeah.
So we're both going to go for the trickster, are we?
Yeah. Oh, I've got a question.
Okay.
At the panel, do the Hypercorians have a weakness, and what is it? Now that's hard because it's hard to say if it's a quiz or a question because it's kind of asking if they do and what it is, but it's if they have one. So our opinion if they don't, or a quiz if they do.
I guess actually, if the question or quiz is aimed at you, it's a quiz because you invented them, so you would know.
Yeah.
So if it's aimed at me, it'd be a question.
Should I do a quiz and question?
A quiz and a question.
D. There's the Toys R Us theme tune. I don't know why. But well, it might be a future Hydrochlorian episode, but the Queen wiped them all out at the end of the Cyborg, didn't they? Do you think the Hydrochlorians will return?
I think they're too good not to return. I've heard apparently in the same way that the Cybermen have a weakness of gold, that the Hydrochlorians have a weakness of mince pies. Apparently.
Hydrochlorians could guest star in the Mince Pie podcast.
I think they could, yeah.
Delete mince pies!
In the same way as the Daleks have got a weakness to chairs.
There are rumours that the Hydrochlorians' weakness could be salt.
Oh.
Or it could be it could be something else you'll find out about soon.
Okay. There's a question here which is based on a discussion we had earlier in the show, actually.
Did they send it in the meanwhile in the show?
They did.
Yeah.
It was actually aimed around when we were talking about Paul McGann and about how good he was, and it said, would the panel, which I think means us, would the panel mind if the Doctor reincarnated back into one of his previous regenerations?
Is that a quiz or a question?
It's a question.
Question.
So, over to you.
It's like what happened in the Mysterious Moon Adventures, maybe but backwards. You know, the Paul McGann Doctor got shot by the John Hurt Doctor and turned into the Powdy Doctor.
Yeah.
Well, it could be that it could be the other way around.
Yeah. Like I said, what is quite interesting, isn't it? I mean, if you look at the Day of the Doctor last year when we watched it, there was that question mark over curator.
Yeah.
Because there was that indication that perhaps it was the Doctor in the future, looking again like he used to once.
Yeah.
So, on that basis, would there be anything to stop him turning back into Paul McGann?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
I would actually wouldn't even mind if we just went back in time for a period of time and that the Doctor regenerated, but we saw a load more stories of things that happened to the Paul McGann Doctor.
Yeah.
So a bit out of sequence, a bit like suddenly going back and watching the early Star Wars films again.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah. So, is that it for the question?
That's it for that question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, final. Is it the final one or have you got another one?
I think that's probably it for this week.
Yeah. This one says Lily has been confirmed for series 5.
Okay.
So you at the Mr. Lewis Moon panel, can you confirm a new companion for series 5? Is that a quiz or a question?
I'd say that's a quiz because we do know the answer. It's whether or not we're willing to reveal.
Let's not reveal it. I don't want to reveal it.
We could reveal whether there is one.
Yeah, there is one. But can we tell anything about it?
I don't know. Just trying to work out what that really loud noise was.
So, can you tell us anything about it, or can we not? Should we keep it all?
I think all we should say is yes or no.
Yes.
There is.
Yeah. And
that's
maybe another one as well. But you have to find out about that in the next series. We've worked all about it today,
Yeah.
and it was awfully complicated.
It was. But I think people are in for a treat.
Yeah, definitely with the story arc.
Yeah.
Maybe that will have something to do with the new companion.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
Okay, well, on that note, I think actually we've done pretty good. We've lasted about an hour, haven't we? Really, without a new episode to talk about. So.
And happy 51 years! If you're going to watch an old episode or have a party to celebrate 51 years, then do it today or tomorrow, because tomorrow is the actual 51st anniversary, a year ago since the day of the Doctor.
So next week, or during the week at some point, probably next Saturday, we'll be enjoying Let's Kill Hitler, and we'll talk about that next week.
We'll also be chatting about the 9th Doctor Christopher Eccleston, 10th Doctor David Tennant, and the War Doctor.
Yeah.
11th Doctor Matt Smith and 12th Doctor Peter Capaldi in the final trial of the 12th Doctor of Peter Capaldi.
Okay. We'll also be reading out the news.
And finally we'll be looking at another quiz or question.
And I'll be trying to explore what it is in the house that's making that very strange noise.
Now, see you later.
Bye.
Bye.